You may not know it, but the rules for recycling have changed, and many of us, it appears, are doing it all wrong. Channel 3's Brandon Simmons tells us what's different and how to do it right.
For those who take pride in recycling, pay attention. The rules are changing for those around the country and here in Northeast Ohio.
China basically stopped taking a lot of the materials we used to export, so that is affecting what we can recycle here in Cuyahoga County.
Cuyahoga County residents generate about 3 million tons of garbage each year, roughly half of it going to recycling facilities. That's good, but there's a lot of bad too.
People are putting a lot of things in the recycling bins that shouldn't be there.
All right, everybody, when it comes to recycling, we're going to try to make this really simple. There are 5 core items that you need to remember. You can put cans in there, you can put cartons, glass bottles and jars, paper and boxes, and also plastic bottles and jugs. Anything from any of those categories are safe to go ahead and throw right into your receptacle. And notice I threw it in without a plastic bag. We want all of those items to be loose. Now, when it comes to those plastics, we want to make sure that those plastics are empty and rinsed. And of course, that recycling logo that we're used to seeing, go ahead and ignore that altogether. All we're worried about are containers that have a neck that are smaller than the container itself. Those are safe to recycle.
These recycling rules apply to every community in Northeast Ohio.
And it's important that we follow them, because when we don't, the cost of managing waste goes up for everyone. We used to be able to ship our garbage to China, more than 1,000 containers per day, but now our trash has become our problem. So do your part by recycling properly. I'm Brandon Simmons, Channel 3 News.